20 years ago, the greatest pirate who ever lived was executed in front of the entire world. But before he died, he smiled. And with his last breath, Gol D. Roger said the words that changed everything. His treasure, the One Piece, it's real, and it's out there, waiting. That one moment launched the Great Pirate Era, and it started the journey of a boy who will one day become king of the pirates. This is episode 1 of One Piece live action, fully explained. Every detail, every hidden moment. Let's go. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down episode 1 of Netflix's One Piece live action, Romance Dawn. Whether you're new to One Piece or a longtime fan checking out the adaptation, this breakdown covers everything. The story, the characters, the details you might have missed, and why this episode sets up something truly massive. Let's get into it. We open at Logtown, the execution platform. Gol D. Roger, the Pirate King, stands before a massive crowd, Marines everywhere, the world watching. And he's not afraid. He tells the crowd his treasure is real, that anyone who finds it can have it. One Piece, the greatest treasure in the world. And just like that, instead of ending the pirate era, the Marines accidentally started it. This is called the Great Pirate Era, and it begins right here, right now, with one man's laughter in the face of death. What you might have missed here, Roger's execution was supposed to be a warning, a symbol that the world government is all-powerful. But Roger flipped it. His death became the starting gun for a new generation of pirates. That irony? It haunts the entire series. We jump forward, a small coastal town called Fuchsia Village, and we meet him, Monkey D. Luffy, a little kid, big dreams, zero common sense. Luffy hangs around the local bar where a pirate crew docks regularly, the Red Hair Pirates, led by the legendary Shanks. Luffy wants to join their crew. Shanks says no. He's too young, too weak. But Luffy doesn't care. He's so desperate to prove himself that he actually eats the gum-gum fruit, a devil fruit sitting on the table, thinking it's just regular food. Shanks is furious. Devil fruits give the eater incredible powers, but in exchange, they can never swim again. For a pirate, that's basically a death sentence. Luffy just gave up the sea, without even knowing what he was doing. The power Luffy gets, his entire body becomes rubber. He can stretch his limbs, absorb blunt impacts, and eventually use that ability in ways nobody expected. But right now, as a kid, he has no idea how to use it. Then things get serious. Local bandits come into the bar and start threatening everyone. Luffy mouths off, gets himself kidnapped. Shanks comes to save him, but not before a Sea King, a massive sea monster, attacks. Shanks loses his arm protecting Luffy. He loses his arm for a kid who isn't even his crew member. That moment breaks Luffy completely. And Shanks, calm as ever, just laughs it off. Tells Luffy his arm is a fine trade. Before leaving Fuchsia Village forever, Shanks gives Luffy his straw hat, his most treasured possession. When you've become a great pirate, return it to me. That hat, that promise, that's everything. That's the emotional engine of the entire One Piece story, and it starts right here. We jump forward in time. Luffy is now 17. He's floating in a barrel in the middle of the ocean and gets accidentally picked up by a pirate ship. Not the good kind. These are the Alvida pirates. Brutal, vain, led by a woman named Alvida who beats anyone who doesn't call her beautiful. Inside the crew, there's a boy named Kobe, soft, scared, been trapped on the ship for 2 years trying to get home. Kobe has a dream too. He wants to be a Marine. Luffy thinks that's amazing. He doesn't care that Kobe's dream is basically the opposite of being a pirate. Dreams are dreams. He respects it. This small moment tells you everything about Luffy's character. He's not defined by sides or factions. He just respects people who have something they're reaching for. Luffy decides he's going to help Kobe escape. Simple as that. They cause chaos on the ship. Luffy uses his rubber powers to take down Alvida, and they escape on a small boat. First action scene of the series, and it sets the tone. Luffy doesn't fight because he's angry. He fights because it's the fastest way forward. Luffy needs a crew, and he already knows who he wants first. Roronoa Zoro, a pirate hunter, supposedly the greatest swordsman in the East Blue. They find him at a Marine base, tied to a pole in the courtyard, being starved. He's been there for weeks, refusing to beg for freedom. Why is he there? Because he crossed the wrong Marine, Helmeppo, the spoiled son of Captain Morgan who runs the base. Helmeppo made Zoro a deal. Survive 1 month tied to that pole without food, and he'll let Zoro go free. Zoro agreed, but Helmeppo lied, never planned to honor it. Kobe is horrified. Luffy? Not surprised, just annoyed. Luffy goes to Zoro directly and offers him a spot on his crew. Zoro refuses. He has his own dream, to become the world's greatest swordsman. He doesn't need a captain. But then something changes. A little girl named Rika sneaks into the base to bring Zoro onigiri, rice balls. She made them with sugar instead of salt, but she wanted him to have something. The Marines catch her. Helmeppo smashes the food, humiliates her, throws her over the wall, and Zoro, starving, tied up, barely alive, calls out for the rice balls in the dirt, eats them, tells Rika they were delicious. He does it so she doesn't feel like what she did was meaningless. That one act. That's Zoro's entire character in one moment. Tough on the outside, quietly, deeply honorable underneath. Luffy watches this, and he decides Zoro is going to be his first crewmate, whether Zoro likes it or not. Luffy sneaks into the Marine base to get Zoro's swords, locked away by Helmeppo. He gets caught. Things escalate fast. Captain Morgan, a brutal Marine with an axe for a hand, threatens to execute Kobe for associating with pirates. Kobe is terrified, but then he does something brave. He stands up, tells Morgan he won't back down. Luffy smiles. The fight breaks out. Zoro gets his swords back, and together, for the first time, Luffy and Zoro fight side by side. Morgan goes down. The base is in chaos, and in the middle of it all, a Marine officer watches from a ship nearby. Captain Smoker. No wait, this early in the story, it's actually someone more important later. But eyes are on Luffy now. Luffy, Zoro, and Kobe escape on a small boat. Kobe heads off to officially enlist as a Marine. Luffy respects it, tells him they might be enemies someday. Zoro sits in the boat, looks at Luffy. I'll join your crew, but if you ever get in the way of my dream, I'll have to cut you down. Luffy just laughs. And just like that, the Straw Hat Pirates have their first member. A few things worth noticing in this episode. 1. Shanks losing his arm mirrors something much bigger later in the story. Sacrifice for Nakama, for your people, is a theme that runs through everything in One Piece. 2. Roger's final words created chaos the world government couldn't control. Luffy's journey will eventually challenge that same government. The parallel is intentional. 3. Zoro's three-sword style isn't shown yet, but the way he holds his swords, even when retrieving them, tells manga fans exactly what they're in for. 4. The Straw Hat. In the manga and anime, that hat is connected to Shanks, to Roger's era, and to the final chapter of the entire story. It's not just a prop, it's a symbol of a promise that spans generations. Episode 1 does exactly what a great pilot should do. It builds a world, introduces a hero you want to root for, gives you action, gives you emotion, and ends with the promise of something much, much bigger. Luffy has his first crewmate, his Straw Hat, and absolutely no plan, which is exactly how the greatest adventure in the world should begin. If you want episode 2 explained, where Nami enters the picture and things get a lot more complicated, hit subscribe and it'll be the next video. Thanks for watching, and remember, the One Piece is real.